Welcome to the F1 Debate Show. Coming up, we talk about the progression of Michael Schumacher, the 7-time world champion from Germany, who had a near-fatal skiing accident in December 2013.
We discussed car manufacturers going into Formula E rather than Formula 1.
We also talk about the Singapore Grand Prix briefly with JT.
And we'll be announcing who will be our first guest on the F1 Debate Show.
So firstly, we're going to start off with Michael Schumacher. Many people will know Michael as the 7-time world champion from Germany, driving for Ferrari and Mercedes until his retirement in 2012. Nearly a year after his second and final retirement, he was on holiday skiing when he hit a rock, going into a coma, a near-fatal injury that went over the world and was basically a massive shock. Turning out the 7-time world champion, the most successful Formula 1 driver on paper, was injured and in a coma. News broke around a few months later that he was out of the coma by his family, and that was absolutely amazing news. He went home back to his family in Germany, but then it's been incredibly quiet. Nothing has been mentioned from the Schumacher family since he came out of his coma around mid-2014. Also, the Schumacher family and his lawyer have kept everything private, wanting for Michael to make progression on his own. But there's been a German newspaper called Bunte, B-U-N-T-E, who have always tried to get news on Michael Schumacher and tell the world, non-Formula 1 fans and Formula 1 fans, about the progression of the 7-time world champion. And very, very recently they have said that Michael Schumacher can walk under aid and under the care that he is receiving, but it has been confirmed that Michael Schumacher's family and his lawyer are suing the magazine for saying that there is false allegations and Michael Schumacher cannot walk because of this injury. Now, it's very, very quiet, as I just said earlier in the video, about what's happening, and it's very, very upsetting as well because they didn't want any news to come out about him, especially not that, and especially obviously not great news that obviously myself, JT, and everyone wants to hear. But it is just almost heartbreaking. It's almost like the news we got around Formula 1, around said accidents and things like that. False allegations, and that is basically what's turning everyone to upset and also anger as well. So the Schumacher family are very unhappy about that, and his lawyer are taking legal action against the newspaper. Now again, there's not much news about Michael Schumacher, about his recovery. We just hope that he is making recovery very quiet and very out of the public eye, which is what he wants, or is what his family want him to do. So he's now resting in Germany and hopefully will be back to his old self in around the paddock and just basically enjoying the rest of his life as a 7-time world champion. So JT, obviously, let's start off with the news about the about Bunte magazine in Germany. It's almost horrible what they're doing. I mean, we know the media, we know they're trying to fish for stories, but I mean, it's the right move for obviously the Schumacher lawyer trying to sue them, isn't it?
Well, I would say it is, yes, because I mean, they wanted the privacy, they wanted everything away from the media. They want Michael to progress and to recover away from everything like that, which is obviously he's doing well. I'm hearing apparently, but we haven't, as like you said, Elsie, we haven't really heard much since he went back to his home. Came out of the coma, went back to his home, and we heard nothing. And obviously there was stupid stories going about, oh, Mike Schumacher is fine, and, you know, he could die in the next couple of days, and you know what I mean. It's obviously bringing in some of the Ferrari mechanics in, and it has been really, really stupid just about how, you know, people have gone about this business. And yeah, and this magazine obviously claimed Schumacher could walk, and obviously they said this isn't true. And some of the statements that came out from the court saying that Michael cannot walk, but there is a good chance he could be able to walk at some stage, which is good to hear.
Yep.
Obviously, it is a bit sad that obviously he cannot walk after nearly 3 years of his accident, which is obviously very, very bad. But to hear that he could possibly walk again is very positive, very upbeat, good to hear. Yep. And I remember hearing a story as well about a drone was flown over the Schumacher household. Somebody obviously bought one, got one, and flew it over the house, and I think they kicked off. I don't know if that was the magazine. I don't know if that was somebody, just a fan wanted to see in, because they were trying to go in through the windows, trying to get some images of Schumacher and everything, which is stupid. If I'm
terrible,
it is awful. You know, I mean, just leave the family alone. They don't want to, you know, say anything. But I mean, this statement, right? Obviously, them suing the magazine is just the first thing we have heard since that in a very, very long time. And
it's not what they'll want. They won't want to go public with this almost controversy. They'll obviously want to tell us good news, and when it develops.
Exactly, and in a way, for us media fans, it is good that we've actually heard something from that side, because we were all on edge of our seats. Like, we don't know, like people say, it was like non-Formula 1 fans, for example, like some friends of yours, you might say, oh, but how's that Michael Schumacher doing? And then you would go, I don't know. Like, he could be on the road to recovery, you know, he could be up and about, walking around his house, or he could be on his deathbed. I really, really don't know. So at least we know that his family's there, you know, the doctors and everyone around him, his lawyers and everything, making sure that he is okay. To hear the news that he could possibly walk again is fantastic. But as of yet, we hope that Michael Schumacher has a speedy recovery, recovers well, and hopefully one day he'll be back up on his feet and hopefully return to the Formula 1 paddock, which I think he would get the biggest welcome ever if that were to happen. I mean, obviously he's a legend in himself, but I mean, what this magazine have done is just wrong. If I'm honest with you, I must say that. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're one of the most successful sportsmen in the world, or if you're Joe Bloggs living 2 blocks down. You know, you should ignore everything and just leave them alone to recover and do what they do. And I mean, what this magazine does is just stupid, fishing for money and fishing for everything like that, advertising and whatnot. It is ridiculous. Get them sued, get the money out of them, clear them away, let him be there for Michael, and hopefully one day he'll be back to his old self, Elsie.
Yes, exactly. Just one more thing I want to say on Michael Schumacher. Obviously, as we know, Mick Schumacher, who was coming up the ranks, who want to be in Formula 1, before he even enters as he enters Formula 1, even without a championship to his name, he will become the most successful father-son pairing in Formula 1. To think, though, Mick will have 0, but obviously his dad will have done all the work for him. Now, obviously, what I was thinking is maybe they're keeping it quiet because obviously if Michael and obviously the family want to keep it quiet, as myself and JT have said. But also because of Mick Schumacher, his career going forward, maybe they just want to keep it quiet because they want people to almost focus on Mick, obviously, and give him the spot that he wants, rather than obviously a terrible outcome, obviously a terrible for his incident that might be around Michael Schumacher. But obviously it's good that he is recovering, and obviously all the news that we keep hearing, I mean, that's the only way that we can. But if you're on the news tonight and things like that, and you just see Michael Schumacher may recover, Michael Schumacher is in recovery, it's absolutely amazing. And as JT said, whenever that is going to be in the paddock, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, when Michael walks in, it will be just an unbelievable moment. You'll just see him walk in with with that face, that 7-time world championship face, and obviously a very all round nice guy in all the interviews that he's been in and all that. You just see him standing there. He'll say something really cheesy. He'll be like, I'm the best in Formula 1, and then
I won my 92nd in last battle. Obviously, that's what everyone's been saying. Let's go for #92. So the next topic we're going to move on to is something that I seen on social media just the other day. Is that apparently Porsche, obviously as you know, German car manufacturer, are planning to go into Formula E. Now this got me thinking. I'm thinking, right, you look at teams, for example, car manufacturers like Jaguar, who are currently going into Formula E for this current Formula E season. I think it starts in a couple of weeks, I believe. For all you who obviously don't follow Formula E, basically it's just an electrical version of Formula 1. It's a lot quieter. It's a lot economical. They're just entering their third season. And Jaguar have just joined in for season 3. Who used to be in Formula 1, who unfortunately and then got taken over by Red Bull in 2005. And it just got me thinking, like, are all the car manufacturers going to go to Formula E instead of Formula 1 because of money and stuff? And Formula 1 is the main motorsport in a way. Obviously, it is Formula 1. You can't get any higher. And then teams like Toyota and Jaguar and like Ferrari threatening to pull out and stuff like that, or and little teams such as like Caterham and Marussia who are car manufacturers once are now gone. I mean, and obviously they're doing the all-on thing now, and Formula 1 is losing that. The car manufacturers coming away from the sport, and that it shouldn't be happening. I think teams like Porsche should be planning to go into Formula 1. Obviously, they don't want to because of the way the sport's been ran at the moment. Obviously, we've got some new owners, so hopefully that might change. But as to date, nobody wants to be in Formula 1 because, like, well, if we don't succeed, we're not going to have as much money as Mercedes and Ferrari. And obviously, Audi have got some sort of involvement in Formula E. And there was rumours that they would be one day take part in Formula 1, and they turned around and said, no, we don't want to. No. Porsche and Audi currently do the endurance championships, like 24-hour Le Mans, 6 hours of Silverstone or Mexico or whatever. So they're involved with that. They don't be in Formula 1, such as teams like Ferrari and Mercedes, and McLaren, obviously our car manufacturers. But then you've got other teams like Red Bull, Force India, Williams, and Haas, who aren't really car manufacturers. So there's more teams like that instead of car manufacturers, which shouldn't really be happening in Formula 1. But car manufacturers like that should be going to Formula 1, but instead they're avoiding it. And I think that's bad in a way, Elsie. I think that's really bad. Because, as I said, it's the main sport in motor racing. So, what's your take on this? I mean, what's your opinion about? I mean, Porsche plan to go in Formula E instead of Formula 1.
Well, it always has been and always will be the pinnacle of motor racing, as you said, JT. Obviously, it's Formula One. Now, the biggest thing is money. These teams, they'll be taking so much of a risk going into Formula One with the money because they know that Ferrari, obviously, car manufacturers like Ferrari and McLaren, they have so much of it. And as you said, Red Bull, Force India, who aren't car manufacturers, they have loads. I mean, probably looking at like Red Bull, probably have the most as an energy drink company, but obviously they've got the fingers in so many pies, and Formula One's their biggest. I'd probably say in terms of sport and things, Red Bull obviously that's Red Bull Racing Tag Heuer is their biggest sport and achievement, but it's the money thing that they do want to go into, and that might be the buy-in. But obviously it's almost like just keeping up with that money because they're going to have to invest so much in it. Now obviously Aston Martin, as you know, they're coming into Formula 1 next year with Red Bull Racing. It's not confirmed that they'll be making Red Bull they'll be using an Aston Martin engine. They have signed off the Renault engine deal for the next few years, but as you know, Aston Martin will be coming in as a big sponsor. But obviously other companies like Audi and Porsche, that will be going into Formula E. I mean, obviously congratulations to Formula E. It's fantastic to watch. Absolutely. It's getting bigger because it's Formula 1, but it's electric, as JD said, obviously. And because obviously if you think about it, over the years we've had V12 engines, then we've had V10s, V8s, and now V6s, also with the turbos and also ERS and all this. It is because of it's saving money, and it's also reducing what's called the carbon footprint and things like that. Economical, as JD said. Also it'd be cheaper as well. Obviously, if you think about that, we're actually cheaper.
Exactly.
But so it obviously well done for Formula E for getting that. But we're not called the Formula E debate show. We're called the Formula One debate show, the FE debate show. So we're talking about why it should be in Formula One. And really, it really is very, very, very sad because I think the bigger thing is money. And I know it's weird to say because companies like Audi will be swimming in the money, but they want to go to Formula E. Formula E will be very happy because it'll be boosting them, but obviously not good for Formula 1. There's no way around it apart from you just lower the money aspect, and you think, well, if we're coming in as engine suppliers, because also as well, JT, I know it sounds strange, but there's 11 teams on the grid. There's only about 3 who supply engines, and that are Mercedes, Ferrari, and that is it. It used to be and Renault, obviously, and then there used to be other companies. There used to be other ones like Cosworth, if you remember. They were very big. Lamborghini. But obviously they've all died out. So also that's another thing, because again we don't know Formula E. But next year it could be things like I don't even know a team. I was going to have a guess at that. But we could have Porsche engines, Audi engines, and things like that.
Porsche team I know is Renault Edams, because it sounds like cheese.
That's Renault. That's another good thing. Also, that's just another thing that'll be stealing fans and stealing everything away from Formula 1 into Formula E. As you know now, they've got a lot of drivers who have pedigree in Formula 1, who have been ex-Formula 1 drivers, and also the sons of Formula 1 drivers. Obviously, the biggest one is Nicholas Prost. Somebody who I said Bruno Senna. And if obviously Nicholas Prost was someone I was going to follow in Formula 1, if he ever got there, he was almost going to get there before he was snatched up by Formula E.
So, I mean, then again, Formula E is just taking those drivers away from Formula 1. You know what I mean? We could have seen Bruno Senna and Nicholas Prost battling out in Formula 1, but no, they're battling out on the streets of London in electric cars. That's not what is supposed to happen. No. You imagine Alan Prost and Senna battling each other in bloody London or something, in a little park or somewhere.
Well, technically, JT, technically it is Prost v Senna. So it's Prost v Senna number 2.
Senna gone wrong badly, very badly. Whoa.
Nicholas Prost v Bruno Senna.
Senna will be Senna will look down going, what the hell is going on here? Prost will be going, oh, this is bad. This is terrible.
But it's not good. So, but basically, though, Aston Martin will be happy because they're almost a monopoly. They're the new comic.
They're not coming in as a team. They're coming in as a partnership. So it's well, coming in as a team, come and join us, come and join the crowd, but they're like, nah, no, I don't want to.
But that would be an amazing thing to happen. It is going to be, all signs point to Red Bull racing Renault. We're back to Renault, not blooming Tag Heuer. We're back to Renault next year. But it would be great though to see Red Bull racing Aston Martin, wouldn't it? That would be amazing.
Tag Heuer, Renault, Aston Martin, that will be a mouthful. Imagine the name of the car. The RBR.
It was going to Red Bull Racing Tag Heuer. Nobody says that anymore. But it's, I mean, apart from obviously when the guys go, welcome to the winners of the 2016, 2016, blah, 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 in first place, Daniel Ricciardo, which has never happened, but it needs to. But back to the topic that we were on before. It's not good. It's the money. But obviously, as JT said, to start with, now that we have now that the monopoly man owns Formula One, hopefully things will change in terms of the money. Money runs Formula One. There's no way around that, and that's what we have said many times. It just is a real shame. Porsche needs to come into Formula One, and it was obviously, as if you remember, in the very early days. Before obviously, they even set the benchmark, obviously, because that's when things like Honda came in. Obviously, it's a big supplier, as you remember, with McLaren, and obviously things like that. So Honda's probably the biggest external one that we haven't seen in a very long time. And then obviously now Aston Martin for next year, they're leading the way. Come on Porsche, come on Audi, come on BMW, come on Nissan.
BMW used to be involved with Sauber, then they pulled out.
He did.
So, you know what I mean? Like, come on, guys.
Fiat. Wouldn't that be meant that Fiat in a Fiat? Fiat, the car maker. That would be amazing.
For the Fiat, is that no Kvyat? Word. See you later.
That would
be incredible.
That is word to your mothers. That would be absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. So the next thing to move on to is the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, if you hopefully watched my Singapore Grand Prix review, you'll know it was just me, and JT was busy. So basically, I thought we'd take this time to just talk to JT about the Singapore Grand Prix, and more surprisingly, the result at the top of the drivers' standings, which is Nico Rosberg at the top, 8 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So JT, start of the season was Nico Rosberg's domination, and we got to about Russia before the win of Max and before the controversy that happened when the two Mercedes took each other off. We thought it was a Mercedes dominant year. Then it went back to Hamilton. Obviously at the Hungarian Grand Prix he took the lead back, but now it's back to Rosberg. The German takes the lead in to the biggest part of the season when the World Championship is decided, and that's amazing for him. So how great is it? I mean, I know it's not an English person at the top, but it must be good.
Literally is in a way if you get that, but I mean it's just one thing after another with this Mercedes. With the Mercedes malarkey, because Rosberg wins all the races at the start of the season, then that little thing happens, then Hamilton goes on to win everything, then it's the summer break, then Rosberg, he's won every race so far, and what I was saying is, can Rosberg win every single race and do a Sebastian Vettel of 2013? But I believe he'll break the record.
That would be said, that would be unbelievable.
They've got, how many races? 19 races, so they've got 2 more races to do. From Belgium till the end of the season, so he could break records left, right, and centre. Nico Rosberg.
He could. It would be and that means also that he would have had 2 records, because if you remember JT, he got Michael Schumacher 7 in a row. Obviously because of the 3 races last year, and then obviously the first 4 this year, and it was only halted because of Spain. I think he would have gone on to do more. Just quickly, I think if Mercedes didn't take each other out and Verstappen didn't win, Verstappen wouldn't have won if Mercedes was still in the race, and Rosberg could have gone on to win, because I was actually thinking that he could have gone to like 10 in a row, 11 in a row, 12 in a row. There's no stopping him. But yeah, so as JT just said, the breaking of Sebastian Vettel could be broken. That he got in 2013, it could be broken by Nico Rosberg, another German. So yeah, 2 victories in the same season. Would be amazing. But the last thing, JT, that I just want to mention, obviously, as you know, the thing that I've been mentioning loads, and the thing that we've been watching, is the battle between Force India and Williams. Williams were ahead in Italy, then went to Force India was ahead in Belgium, then it went to Williams in Italy. But now the tables have turned by 1 point. So Force India leads Williams by 1 point. How amazing is that? And also for the future race, obviously the next race in Malaysia, watching a 1 point battle going on.
Before I start, I must say it never got off to the best of starts for the Force India. I must say Nico Hulkenberg crashing with like 3 seconds from lights out. So again, obviously the team didn't want that, but it's just it's like cat and mouse at the moment between those two, isn't it? Then obviously Valtteri Bottas got a retirement during the race, really so it was just 1 Williams against 1 Force India. So and now it's only 1 point in it. I think this is the challenge to watch, because you've got Mercedes, they've won it.
This is.
Then you got Ferrari. I think Red Bull are edging away from Ferrari, so you look at that goal, and that's not as close. But now this is the next battle to watch, and honestly, really exciting.
Yeah, but I mean, again though, JT, 15 points between 15 points between Red Bull and Ferrari. I think Ferrari, they could do it up to the point that they could be challenging, obviously, the last race at Abu Dhabi. And if it was double points, that would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it? I think that, obviously, in the olden days.
Sorry, I forgot about the double points, but I mean,
that would be absolutely.
Only thing I'm going to say about Ferrari's strategy. Come on, guys, sort it out, guys, sort it out.
Strategy, yeah, it is absolutely. My Haas F1 on F1 2016 is almost like Ferrari in real life. In some races I've gone from like 4th position to back to 15th and stuff like that. But yes, the Ferrari and not for good. But that was the Singapore Grand Prix. Obviously my live stream, my review, and then JT obviously getting his thoughts, and also for the World Championship as it stands at the moment. But it just, there's so much happening. So I'll just read you out quickly. So we've got Rosberg ahead on 273 with an 8-point lead over Lewis Hamilton. Ricciardo is very much in the distance, almost 100 points behind in 3rd place. Sebastian Vettel is in 4th. That is a mind the gap. Sebastian Vettel is in 4th with 153, leading Kimi Räikkönen, his teammate, by not much. I'm not amazing by doing math in my head, so I'm probably not giving you the gaps at the moment. I should have written them down. Max Verstappen in 6th. Now I've already said, just quickly JT on Max Verstappen, I've always said he was at a 4-point deficit, 4 race deficit heading into Spain, obviously because he'd done 4 races with Toro Rosso. But now he's almost looking like he's climbing that back, because a few races ago he wasn't even past 100, but now, obviously after his bad run after the summer break, he's now back at 129 points. That is 19 points behind Kimi Räikkönen, so he's very much still in the fight, and I think that's great by Verstappen. There's a massive gap to 7th place Valtteri Bottas, who is in 7th place with 70 points. 8th place is Sergio Perez, only 4 points behind Bottas, so again they could catch them. But mind the gap, guys, the whole 20 points behind is his teammate Nico Hülkenberg. 5 points behind him is Felipe Massa. Then 5 points again behind is 11th place Fernando Alonso. Then we have Carlos Sainz, Roman Grosjean, Daniel Kvyat, Jensen Button, Kevin Magnussen, Pascal Wehrlein, and absent from Formula 1 is Stoffel Van Dorn. I love that, JT. Stoffel Van Dorn hasn't even been in Formula 1 for like the past 13 rounds, and he's still in the World Championship. And he's ahead of Esteban Gutierrez, Julian Palmer, Marcus Ericsson, Felipe Nasser, Esteban Ocon, and obviously Rio, but obviously poor Rio isn't in Formula 1 anymore. So yeah, that was the Singapore Grand Prix and the standings after that.
So finally, to wrap up this episode, we are going to be telling you guys about who is going to be appearing on the F1 Debate Show and become our first ever guest. Now, it's nothing really that we wanted to happen very, very soon, but I came across this guy who on Twitter, and I went through his tweets and everything, and I seen he was tweeting loads of people trying to promote his. He's also on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel as well. And I tweeted him. I was like, he tweeted us. I tweeted him back and everything. And we got talking and everything. I told Elsie about him, and we both agreed that we would have him on the show at one point. And his channel is called Raz on F1. I don't know his real name, but that is his channel name. So, and if you do want to go and check out his channel, then we've left a link in the description below. So go and check him out. Subscribe if you like his content. But that is who is going to be our first guest. We don't know when it's going to be. Obviously, we haven't really discussed that at all. It might be the next couple of weeks. It obviously will be before the end of the season. But obviously, we've got to find the subject to talk about. We've got to find how to get him on here, and obviously the setup and everything. So we need to discuss that. But Raz on F1 is going to be our first guest on the F1 Debate Show. And if you want to be on the F1 Debate Show at some point, then all you have to do is just email us at f1debateshow17@gmail.com. Just send us over. Just basically give us some detail about yourself, really, just about how you got to Formula 1, your knowledge about Formula 1 and stuff. And obviously, if we see it, we'll email you back. Well, we don't get many fan mails, so
you can also message us on our Facebook page, our Twitter page. Obviously, we're always managing them through the day. Obviously, we've always got them signed on. So basically, we will respond very, 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 very soon. So it'll always be seen. Yeah, but email's a very posh way of doing it. It's very professional, but yeah, obviously Twitter, you can message on YouTube as well. Facebook will always see them. So as JD said, yeah, just message us, tell us what's your name, where you're from, how you've also showed your support for the F1 Debate Show, because obviously we like that. We like people who have showed their support over the years, over the months that we've been on here, stuff like that. Just message us about what you want to do. If you want to bring a topic to the table, that would be absolutely amazing, because as me and JD said, we've got to obviously work out what topics we can talk about with a third person in the video. But obviously, and that was also a big, that's why that was a big thing when we first set up the F1 Debate Show. We wanted to have guests on. This was also just going to be a debating show, as you know. So yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. Come on, be as a guest, but obviously, yeah, show us our knowledge in the world, your knowledge of Formula 1. So that would be great to have you on. But yeah, as JD said, obviously very special. Our first guest is Raz of F1. He's messaged our channel so much. He's been such a support
It does,
And obviously
it really does.
JT, as JT knows as well, and me, we see his messages on YouTube and things like that on a night. And I'll tell you something, it really makes our day, because he is so nice. He takes inspiration. He's saying that, you know, where like one of his favourite YouTube channels, he gets inspiration off us. He gets ideas for his channel, things like that. And the proof is in the pudding as well, because I was watching one of his videos the other day, and he had like things on the screen,
Exactly.
and that's where again he would have got that from us, and that's what we messaged him and said. So it just we are almost an inspiration to him, so that's really great for him.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's going to be our first guest, so tune in for that. But also, if you're watching like that, yeah, it doesn't matter where you're from as well. Location is not a problem. If you're from the United States or you're from Australia, obviously we've got time zones to play it out, but it doesn't matter. We'll have you on as a guest. That doesn't matter at all. So yeah, just message us. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, so that is the end of the F1 Debate Show. Thank you very much for watching. The transition between the Singapore and the Malaysian Grand Prix. I had to say that. That is my trademark. That is.